Hello, and welcome to Convinced Catholicism, a place for all things Catholic. Today I have here my daily psalm book, which is a publication by the Confraternity of the Precious Blood. Before I get into the review and the video, I just want to say thank you. We recently hit 400 subscribers. At 500, it's your choice. I'm either going to do a tour of my parish or a tour of my book collection, prayer books, devotional books, theological books, all kinds of books. If you're not a subscriber, please do. It's for free. If you want to help support the show monetarily, you can go to my locals page, which it was as little as $2 a month. You get to see some exclusive content that I post on Sundays. And you can always follow me on Instagram and leave a comment and like the video. All right, so my daily psalm book. This book is a wonderful, wonderful little book. Straight up, I'm going to get into detail about it, but as you could probably tell, this book checks off a few check marks in my, love or must-haves in a prayer book. Let's take a look at the size of the book. So its width is 3.5 inches. Its height is just a little bit over 4. And then its thickness is, my goodness, I don't even think half an inch. Let's take a look for sure though. Is it even half an inch? And the answer is yes, just barely. All right, so I will say this book I bought on Amazon, but I think results may vary. I've seen pictures of some of the reviews on Amazon, and theirs looked a little bit different. But this book is originally from 1947. Okay, it's printed in India. And we can see here on the first few pages that it says, in the New Latin translation of the Psalms, which our Holy Father, Pope Pius XII, had ordered to be made and had subsequently approved, he has given not only to priests but to all the faithful a powerful incentive to use these inspired hymns and prayers with frequency and devotion. The Vicar of Christ points especially to the rich fruits which come from the reading of the Psalms. They hold up shining examples of sanctity before our eyes, nourish within us love of God, and increase sentiments of Christian fortitude and the spirit of true contrition. In a word, they give us light, grace, and comfort. We should hold it a singular grace that in these difficult times the Holy Father has referred us to this sacred book. For out of it we may draw, as did the people of Israel in the days of past tribulations, reference to the Old Testament, Maccabees, strength and consolation in our needs of the present. May the Psalms bring abundant blessings to all those who pray and read them with devotion. That's from 1947. And the book explains that this is the prayer book that God wrote, which is true to some extent. God did, in fact, inspire the prophet David to write the Psalms. And this is the prayers that Christ and his ancestors all prayed. And what this book basically is a way of a lay person praying the hours. Because let's be honest, the divine office, even though many of us, including myself at times, have prayed the divine office, it's not necessarily designed for lay people to pray. There's also the little office of Baltimore, which I did a review on. There's different devotional books. There's the Key of Heaven, which I did a review on, which also you could also check out. So there's all these, so a layperson can pray the divine office, but we're not meant to pray the divine office per se. We're not instructed to, as much as we'd like to think we are. And this is showing us the Psalms in a format that would get us familiar. And it's a very simple book. You just literally flip through it page to page, and you will go through it. So it starts with Sunday and ends on Saturday. And the hours that it has are matins, which is kind of like the very, very early morning. Then you have lauds, which is morning. Then you see prime, which is 7 o'clock. Terce, 9. Sext, 12. None, 3 o'clock. And then vespers, which is evening. And then compline, which is at night, which is before bed, as I've mentioned on this channel before. And so you literally go through it over and over again. But there's a lot of variety. It's not just Psalms 1 through 50 just divided evenly. It's made up in a different order. So notice that Psalm 30 and 31 are here, but the next psalm after that is, well, after Psalm 32 is Psalm 114. So it's not in order of 1 through 150. It's laid out in the way that someone would be praying the Psalter in a divine office manner. Another interesting thing, too, that this book offers is if you're feeling a certain way, a certain emotion, are you depressed? Are you in need of consolation, ingratitude, so on and so forth? They tell you what psalms to pray and what pages they're on. So let's say that we are discouraged. Psalm 10, page 12. And there it is, Psalm 12. And it has what the psalm is actually about in red text: an earnest prayer for protection against enemies. God is our strength, so on and so forth. And it also has a section in the back here, psalm number, page number. And it says my favorite psalms. And there's also canticles as well. So if you wanted to add a little bit more to your office, if you're getting more and more in depth, you can add canticles to the office as well. Something I've noticed that's a little bit, two things that I've noticed that brings this book down a little bit is where compline begins or where another office begins may not be necessarily obvious. It's in this text here on the side, and if you're praying it, I mean, you can't really see that. But you have to look carefully. You don't know where one office begins and the other one ends sometimes. So, for example, this is Wednesday at prime, and we flip, and oh, look at that. I didn't even notice it. Wednesday at terce starts with Psalm 53. You really need to be careful with that. The other, and this is a good little intention, is that there's not, some of the artwork is nice and somewhat legible. I mean, we can tell that that's Christ, but, you know, with some of the other art, for example, let's go to page 280, because I remember that the art is not very impressive there. You know, what am I supposed to be looking at here? I couldn't tell you for the life of me what that's supposed to be. 285, is that God the Father? Is that the sunrise? What is this supposed to be? The city of God? Okay. Page 350. Let's go to page 350. Oh, I mean, this is another example. What is that? I guess the Transfiguration? I don't know. Canticle Zachary is the caption, or that's the Canticle 350. Where is it? That's a good example of art. That's nice. But what is that? You know, which we're not buying this book for the art. We're buying it for praying the Psalms, all of them in 1 week. And the prayers are so, the actual services itself that you'd be praying are so short that you could do this in sincerely in 5 minutes, not just rushing through it. So like this is Tuesday at Prime. It starts here, Psalm 24, 24 part 2, 24 part 3, and then it stops with 39, and then Terce 39, 39, and then 46th, right? So sincerely, you can pray these very quickly. Another thing too is that this is soft cover. So I'm not saying that this is a weak binding. In fact, the cover itself is that kind of plasticky fake leather that it feels nice. I like the cover. You could, put this in a pocket and you couldn't worry about it. You could even, do this if you're one of those people that flips the pages over. But this is a nice little psalter. You don't have to go by the designated order either. You could, beyond doing that, you could do morning, evening rule, before communion, after communion. And then there's also other psalms for other times, for health, in sorrow, in trouble, prayers of thanksgiving, so on and so forth. And it's a wonderful, wonderful little book. And there's several by the Confraternity, including the very first book I ever reviewed, which is the Pocket New Testament. I'll get it out here in just a second. This is the very first book I reviewed, and I really like it a lot. And there they are, nice little companions to each other. So this is also published by the Confraternity. Okay, so although it might be a different one, but still same intention going on. All right, well, if you enjoyed this video, please like it and share it. Make sure you subscribe. It doesn't do anything except let you know when my videos come out and I get more traction on YouTube. Thank you very much, and God bless.